Hey everyone, Leo Bond here. I'm back again today for the Best Buy Canada blog, and this time I'm taking a look at a hoverboard by ProZip called the Hummer, which is an all-terrain hoverboard, so for both on and off-road use. And this board has some really interesting features to it aside from its absolutely massive tires. So it's also got a built-in GPS system, a dedicated app that includes both a speedometer and an odometer so you can keep track of your speed and your mileage, so how far you've traveled. It's got Bluetooth that you can connect it to your smartphone with, and my favorite feature of all is the auto leveling feature, which makes it really easy to balance on this thing. And I really would not have expected riding this thing to be so easy, but basically how it works is that when you turn on the board and step on it, it kind of immediately stiffens up and becomes much more stable, and that just makes it a whole lot easier to balance. And you know, when I first received this board, I had every expectation of breaking at least a half a dozen bones, but I never actually fell off it even once, which for me is really saying something, because I can barely stand on level ground with hiking shoes on without wanting to topple over. So a pretty impressive feature, the auto leveling. And anyway, the maximum weight capacity of the Hummer is 100 kilograms or 220 pounds, and it takes somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 5 hours to fully charge it up via its included charging adapter. And you know, it's just a standard wall plug-in. But the discharge time on this thing, or how long it takes to run the battery down, well, that's a little bit more difficult to pin down, mainly because there are a whole lot of different factors that can affect that. So, for example, my weight is pretty close to the maximum capacity of the board, which means that the board has to work a whole lot harder to drag my carcass around. Now, if I were only, say, 120 pounds, or maybe even up to 150 pounds, the board wouldn't have to work nearly as hard to get me around, and therefore the batteries would last a whole lot longer. Now, the other big impact on the battery life has to do with the specific terrain that you're driving around on. So certain surfaces create a little bit more work for the board than others. So for me, when I took the Hummer out onto loose gravel, as long as there were a decent amount of rocks and everything and it wasn't too loose, I had really no trouble. It just kind of cruised along. But I did hit some spots that were particularly sandy, almost like you'd find on the beach or something, and I kind of sunk into those a bit, and it made it a lot harder for the board to move me along. Now, a lot of the footage that you see here, I'm riding around on a tennis court. The board had no problem with that whatsoever, but when I did try to go uphill a little bit, it definitely had some trouble with that. Now, the top speed for the Hummer is 15 kilometers an hour, and the minimum recommended age for its use is 7 years old. And as you can see, I actually had quite a lot of fun riding around on this thing. It wasn't difficult at all, and I still have, you know, my full self is fully intact. I didn't break any bones or anything. So the one thing that I will say about it, and this is just strictly my opinion, is that I don't really consider this as a serious means of transportation. It's more something that's meant for fun, and you know, something that if you want to just ride it around for the pure sake of enjoyment, it's great for that. But you probably wouldn't necessarily use it to get around. I suppose you could if you really had to, but there may be a lot of places that you won't be permitted to ride it in anyway, like maybe through a shopping mall or a school or something like that. And this thing is also very, very heavy, so you definitely don't want to have to pick it up and walk with it. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about the Hummer here for now. I know this is a pretty quick review. It is a lot of fun. It's probably not for everyone though, but fun nevertheless, and I do recommend it for those that are into this sort of gadget. It's not really something for me. I was never really a skateboarder, so you know, it's not something that I'm going to pick up myself. In any case, I do hope that you enjoyed the video, or at least found it useful, and if you did, please give it a like or a share, and you can subscribe as well if you enjoy this sort of thing. Now, I've been very busy over the last few months, work and personal stuff going on, and I haven't really had time to keep up with the channel as much as I would like to, but I'm hoping and expecting for things to ramp up again here pretty soon, especially with the, you know, September on till about Christmas. It gets really, really busy. A lot of toys and different products come in for me to review. Anyway, that's all from me for now. I do hope to see you back here again for another review on another day, but until then, I'd just like to thank you all for watching. Have an excellent day, and I'll see you soon.